What? You want me to teach right now? I'm watching the Olympics. I think I'll have to send a sub in. Thanks. Super teacher! Alright, today we're going to learn how to multiply mixed numbers. And we've been doing problems like this. And you remember when you multiply fractions, you multiply the tops, the numerators, and then you multiply the denominators. And you always remember to reduce. But today we're going to add just one little step to it that should be very simple. We're going to do mixed numbers. So whenever you have mixed numbers, you always have to convert them to improper fractions. So let's remind ourselves how to do that. Remember, you take the denominator times the whole number and add the numerator. So 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So you get 7 halves. Then you do the same thing over here. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So you get 7 thirds. And now remember, you multiply the numerators, and then you multiply the denominators. And then you need to remember to make sure you make it proper. So 6 goes into 49. 8 times with 1 left over. So 8 and 1/6. Let's get my fancy, nicer writing marker. 2.5 times 2 thirds. Let's make it 1 2/3. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 5. So 5 halves. Times 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5 thirds. And multiply the tops, 25 over 6. And 6 goes into 25 4 times with 1 left over. Now, remember, some of you have been learning how to cancel out. All right, now what I want you to do is on page 344 in your book, I want you to do the practice set A through K. All right, so let's get the answers to the practice set to see how you did. And even superheroes have to wear glasses. So A is 1, B is 1 1/4, C is 2.5, D is 5, E is 6 2/3, F is 5 1/4, G is 5 5/9, H is 5.5, and I is 7. Okay, hopefully you did a good job. And in case you didn't do a good job, let's do a couple of those. And you can stop the video now if you want. But if you didn't do a good job, let's just practice just a couple just to make sure. 1.5 times 2 thirds. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. And then times it by 2 thirds. Do the top. Oh, here's a cancel out one. Okay, here's one that you can cancel out if you remember how to do that. Find out what's a common factor on the top with a common factor on the bottom. So 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 2 one time, 3 goes into 3 one time, and 3 goes into 3 one time. So 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. And if you didn't remember how to cancel out, because I know we haven't done too much of that, you could just go straight across. 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6. And you get the same thing. The same thing no matter what, even if you reduced it or if you canceled out. So they both work. One more example, if you still think you need another one, is 3 1/3 times 2 2/3. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, 10 thirds. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, 8 thirds. And check, is there anything I can cancel out? No. Do the numerators, 10 times 8, 3 times 3. And 9 goes into 80, 8 times with 8 left over. And if you still have questions, of course, first thing tomorrow morning, we'll go over the questions. And I hope your teacher calls me back to sub again. Goodbye!